Okay, so last time we saw with our scope program that if we created a global var inside and set it to hello, that we could print this. We could use the variable var inside out here. Okay, but we got hello. Its value didn't change even if we executed a function. Okay, so I'm making a simpler. Over here. Oh yeah, and we saw that was because there were actually two var inside functions, right? Or there were two var inside variables that got created actually. One got created globally and one was created locally inside the function. Okay, so I'm going to make a simpler little program here to illustrate a little more what's going on. So here we have the basic idea. We have a function with a local variable. Okay, num is not global, it's local. We run the function and we try to print the number. So what do we expect can happen? Try and think for a minute what you think is going to happen when I press the run button. And let's see. Oh, okay, we got an error. It says name error, name num is not defined. So we have num here inside locally, but it's not declared globally. Okay, so we saw what we could do is we could say up here I could say num equals 1, right? And then I could run the function and we could print out num. So now the question is, am I going to print out a 1 or a 2 or something else? Let's take a look. Let's see. Prints out a 1. Okay, so we executed this function where num equals 2, but we printed out a 1. So let's take a look in viz mode and see what's going on here. Okay, run it, and let's go to begin here and step through. So first thing we do, we create a global variable num1, and we also have func. So the name of the function also is a global variable that points to this function. But now we're going to, the next step we're going to do is we're going to actually execute this function. So let's go through there. Now we're going to step through it. Now we're inside the function. And now we have a local variable called num2. And notice we still have the global variable. These are two different variables, even though they have the same name. We have this local one, and we have this global one. So let's step through. So why would we want to do that? Why don't we just make it so that if they have the same name, they're the same variable? Well, the reason is that as your programs get bigger, you want to often encapsulate knowledge. So one example I got from a course that I took was you might have the variable name dial being used in software that controls an airplane. In one place it might refer to a dial in the airplane controls, and another place it might refer to a dial in the entertainment system at your seat, and you don't want to get those two mixed up, right? So it's a way. So having local variables is a way of kind of isolating things. But sometimes you really would like to be affecting this num up here inside your function, And in general, it's not a good idea, just because of the problem that I just talked about, like with the dial example. But sometimes, well, for at least for this course, there are for the game building portion of the course, it will be easier sometimes to use global variables. So I am going to show you how to do global variables just for the sake of this course, how to make something that looks like a local variable into a global variable. So what you can do is you can say global num. And now this num is going to refer to the global variable num. Okay? And there are, in general, I mean, if you get into serious game making, there are safer ways to do this, not using global, but it's kind of complicated for this point in the course, and we'll probably talk about it at some point in the course. But for now, I just want to show you now what's happening, because notice before what happened was we had the you remember before what happened was we had two different num variables being created. This time, look at this, a 2 gets printed. So I'm going to go back to the beginning and step through. Now we have our local variable, our global variable num1, or num with a value of 1. We have our function, the variable func, which points to this function that we created. When we execute the function, we're no longer creating a new variable, a new local variable, because we're referring to that global variable. And look at, the global variable has changed its value. So we did not create a local variable anymore because we had this global statement in here, global and num. Okay? So again, so that, and we'll, now that when we get out, we're still dealing with the global variable. Num is still 2, so we'll print out a 2. Okay? So, yeah, so again, like I said, there are safer ways to, you know, to maintain data, you know, to pass data around. But for now, we're going to, for some of the game applications, we'll be using global.